Good evening, afternoon, or morning, everyone, and welcome to the Tabletop Shenanigans Podcast. Today I have with me my lovely co-hosts. First up, the possible missing Primarch of the Lost Second Legion, Matthew.
Hey, everybody.
Second, the lead tech priest of his own Forge World, Nick.
Hey, everybody.
Third, is he cunning but brutal, or brutal but cunning? The leader of his own WOG, Alex.
You know.
And this week's guest, a member of the inner circle of the Dark Angels, Phil.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And lastly, me, your host for this evening, Felipe. All right, to begin this evening, let's get some housekeeping and announcements out of the way. First up, a quick change in schedule. Our podcast will now be bi-weekly to help have enough content to discuss on our podcast. This will start with tonight. So next week, we'll go to a different thing. And then the week after that will be the regular podcast. Secondly, we are currently ironing out our Dark Heresy campaign. Once we get technical difficulties all figured out and the hurdles of trying to figure all that out, we'll be able to start bringing that out to you all. We want to work on quality on that before we actually start putting it on our YouTube channel. Also, we are currently looking for any graphic designers to lend us a hand. We're looking to redo our channel's logo and just overall just kind of like spice up and everything. So if anybody knows any graphic designers or anybody would like to help us out, just shout us an email, a message, whatever. Just try to get in touch with us. You will be compensated, of course. And just a quick thing.
We'll give you Felipe's nudes.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Yikes.
Wow.
I know.
Yikes.
Whatever for the channel.
Honestly, I don't know if they need those, right? Like,
Anything for the
he is
channel.
an essential employee. So, yes, I think they're an essential nudes.
Essential.
And last thing, just to our listeners, please do not hesitate to let us know how we can improve. We're not experts at this. Good God, we are not experts at this. We're learning and changing as we go. We're going to be trying to make changes. We're going to be trying to implement new things. We're working on trying to get the battle reports and everything going. However, because of the whole world situation going on right now, the thing that we can't mention at all, that has been slowed down. So, but once that changes and everything, we'll get that going. We'll get Dark Heresy going. And if there's anything that anybody can point out to help us improve, please let us know. Okay, with all of that out of the way.
First person's going to say this, Felipe. They're gonna say we should do our what's it called? I already forgot what they're called. I haven't played in so long. Battle reports, jeez. I haven't played a
tabletop simulator thing.
No, like just a normal game of Warhammer. I haven't played Warhammer in literally like 4 months.
I know.
I can't even say it now.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the next person. Yeah, I know you've been hurting, Matthew.
So speaking of things that we haven't been able to do, how about we start actually talking about things we actually have been doing? So over the last couple of weeks, almost months, what's everybody's projects that they've actually been working on? Maddie, let's start with you. What have you been working on recently?
Ooh, well, I've been working on acquiring some more stuff. Like always, just purchasing more. I actually purchased or received some more Imperial Guard, which I plan on splitting into 2 separate Imperial Guard armies, one Talaran and one Kadashan. And I'm looking forward to that, but probably be a slow process for me, unfortunately. But I actually haven't painted anything in about a month and a half or built anything in just as long. So I've been slacking.
Cool.
Sounds about right.
But that's it.
Listen, Matt is the definition of pay to play.
100%.
Basically,
I would literally if you know anybody that has a pretty cheap painting service and wants to just get some extra work, I'd be more than happy to oblige with some models to paint.
Basically, you'd be the reason why we would have loot boxes in Warhammer if they could implement that.
Honestly, that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
No.
Oh goodness.
All right, Nick. What about you? What's been your time off been spent on?
Well, I've been working on my Necrons. I actually just built Illuminator Caesarus or whatever, the model that just got released. And I saw it, I was like, huh, neat. I just built this guy. I'm really excited though, because Necrons look pretty fun this quarter, and I hope the rules are good. I think Necrons have a lot of flavor, so I'm really happy to make the switch from robots to robots.
Spoken like a true
Back to you,
competitive
host.
player this quarter.
I mean, it is
Yep.
in line with what you do. All right. What about you, Alex? What have you been working on recently?
Well, ever since I made the decision of, I was actually painting a couple orcs until I made that decision about leaving them with you. I have touched a little bit of my Black Templars, and I recently built the rest of the knobs, and I custom made them from some AOS models, some AOS figures and weapons and armor. Because honestly, orc AOS. Those Uruks have really nice armor pieces that I like to put on knobs. They just look really nice. They just look really nice.
The Iron Jaws.
Yeah, they just look really nice. I remember buying one thing of Iron Jaws and one thing of Savage Boys. And I remember the one thing of Iron Jaws that I bought, I made 15 knobs that are custom made
Ooh,
from their bits. And I have 25 right now,
very cool.
which is nice.
Phil, what about you? Anything that you've been working on?
I've been working on our fantastic Dark Heresy campaign, coming to the YouTube channel soon.
I like that. I like that.
Coming to everybody
For
soon.
viewers like you, thank you.
So
Wait,
moving
is that
on.
copyright? Is that copyright?
God, I hope not. Let's hope not. So moving on, I'm not 100% sure what the release schedule for all the next Psychic Awakening updates is going to be. I think we're first going to get like Death Watch and everything, but I think the actual next Psychic Awakening book that we're going to get is the Engine War, which is going to include our favorite robots boys faction, Adeptus Mechanicus. Nick, are you expecting anything nice? Anything that you would like? Any Christmas presents? Very late Christmas Warhammer presents?
Oh, I'm just low key waiting for the release of all the new stuff, and then I'm just gonna sell all my Necrons and then play AdMech, I guess.
So
I am really-
have they not released rules for like the Flying Boys, the Chopper, and all that stuff,
No.
and then the Rough Riders? Is that just going to be new units that gets released in the Psychic Awakening?
Yeah, they literally have not spelled anything yet. It's supposed to be our month this month, but with the whole shebang going on, we're still waiting for a physical book. I'm still waiting for the new books and stuff. I literally had saved up some money just so I could buy all the new cool toys, and I'm getting a little impatient. I won't lie to you.
What all are the factions that are going to be in the Engine War?
I think it's Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights, AdMech, and I heard there was one more.
It's
But I don't-
Chaos Demon Chaos Demons.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be cool. I like that. I have a Demon's army, so that's great. I have a Knight's army, that's great. And then I actually have all the factions in that book, so I'm pretty excited for this book the most. Because what I didn't like about Psychic Awakening was the other books, I would have one of the factions, like, man, that sucks. But then the rest of them, this one, I have all the factions, so it just feels nice.
You should be more like Matthew and just have all the armies. So then every release, you're like, awesome, something for me.
Okay, Matt, what Chaos army?
I actually have Death Watch or Death Guard.
Death Watch?
Death Guard.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
you do.
Death Guard.
But where is it at right now?
It might be
mighty.
located somewhere in your house, but I do plan on recovering that at some point once we're able to get back out.
Yeah,
When
that's really
Snorgle's blessing is done.
yeah, right.
It's probably particularly strong on those Plague Marines.
Yeah, right.
I'm not gonna
So I
lie.
know that
I
we've
think if I
talked a
was
lot
gonna-
of.
I was gonna say, I think if you're a Death Guard player right now and you were gonna play in an event right now, you might be like super buffed, like hardcore steroids.
Yeah, right. Before you
Basically.
get arrested for breaking the quarantine rules.
No, that's the whole point. They break the rules and they gain the strength. They get
They gain the
they get
strength.
they get 2 free turns.
So I know that we've talked a lot about
Boom.
AdMech in general, and let's be honest, knights in general maybe going to get like a page each at most, but demons, this is the one that I'm kind of interested about because I know that demons has been left out for the most part. Like they haven't had anything in a long time. What do you guys think is going to be brought to demons? Are we going to get like any reason to play them mono faction? Is there going to be any reason to not soup them up?
Honestly, demons I'm kind of scared of any other army that I've been thinking of. Demons have it the most things that it's hard to give them something, because if you give them a slight buff in something, they might just become overtuned because they're very cheap.
Oh,
The only things that aren't cheap are their bigger units, but you can run demons without their bigger units. And if you have to run bigger units, you just run the best of the 4 options, which are, Nurgle stuff. Almost all of Nurgle stuff is useful. It's just how many points you want to spend for it. I know Corn Bloodletter bombs are really good, but they're super cheap for what they do. And you can risk, running like 30 or 60 of them, and you're just they're like the same points as boys, I believe. They're 7 points per piece, right? Bloodletters? I believe they're 7 points per model.
They're pretty cheap.
Which
Yeah,
is-
they're not very expensive.
Yeah, the same price as boys, orc boys. And they're pretty efficient for their point cost. And they got a 5-up invuln. They hit hard. Damage to you on a 6. So they're pretty good, I would say.
But is there any reason right now to not soup demons? Like, is there any reason why you would only want to bring like Corn or Nurgle or Siege?
well,
If you want to play the game on hard mode.
I'm almost positive the only faction that you can play by itself effectively is Nurgle and Zeech. And Zeech isn't even that good comparatively.
No.
So it's Nurgle.
But Zinch has a lot of flavor though. I
Yeah.
love those models.
Yeah, I agree. They have if they can get their little gimmick in, they actually can do a lot of damage. And a 4 Binvon's nothing to scoff at. A 50-50 chance to kill, like to not kill or kill on every single model. Pretty efficient.
Yeah,
No-
right.
No,
And
yeah.
they just have the nice invuln. They just have a lot of nice things going for them. But at the end of the day, it's hard. It's rough to play mono demons because each demon is dedicated to that one thing they're good at, right? Like Slanesh
Right.
is good at being being Slanesh.
Slanesh,
Corn
yeah.
is good in melee. Like sorry Slanesh players.
Movement. You're trying to say movement.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, that's
I
actually Nick
guess.
indirectly brought up a good point about Slanesh. There's just really no reason to play Slanesh because the other demons do what they do better.
Yeah, and that whatever that ability is that they get to fight first, doesn't it have a lot of stipulation?
It's
Don't they
bad.
fight first unless they charge you? Unless they also fight first, unless they do so and so. It just
It doesn't make sense in my opinion because same thing with like the problem with Emperor's Children. They should have just changed Emperor's Children thing from fight first, or they should just make it to where armies that have the fight first keyword actually always fight first, no matter if they get charged, no matter if they get charged, like if they get charged, if they charge, some stipulation, psychic
So-
power.
What
Like-
you're not thinking is they do get to fight first, but if your opponent charges you, then you just start alternating like it's normal combat. If you have any existing combats, your models fight first. So instead of like receiving a Space Wolf charge from like 10 different units, instead of having to wait for 10 different attack sequences, you start rotating immediately, like alternating who's attacking.
Yes, but I understand that, but it's still not good regardless because every single army that has a fight first mechanic, they're very weak models. Like name me one fight first mechanic that has an actual model that can fight first every time, or like the charge, and tell me that they're
Gilliman?
actually
when you cast there's a spell you cast on him, it lets him fight first all the time. So even if he gets charged,
sure.
I mean, you could go for the route talking about if you were to try to make melee Emperor's Children, you could be like a abomination against nature and play like Chaos Terminators or something.
Sure,
but
there's usually a way to make anything work if you really try hard at it, and that's the whole point of shenanigans. I think I'm gonna go buy a Slaanesh army and see if I can make it work now.
I guarantee you, it's not. Only in my opinion. But I understand what you're getting at. Like, for example, if you're like, you can make a whole list around Terminators for Slaanesh. But guess what? Corn Terminators are overtuned. Like, if you saw what they got in their last supplement, they can get Strength 9 times 2 weapons, and then they can fight twice.
Well, those aren't Corn Terminators. Those are specifically World Eaters Terminators.
You know what I mean.
Before we get on the topic of Chaos Space Marines, because we've been talking about that a bit, back to Chaos Demons, talking about reasons not to soup them, we don't know exactly what's going to be in the book, but they could do something similar to what they've done with Angels of Death, where they make it so that if you soup, they lose out on the bonus features they're going to give that faction. So if you want to play a pure faction, they'll get a new, more overpowered ability to add on top of what they have. But if they soup with anything that isn't their demons, or maybe like a Chaos Space Marine faction that has their like keyword, their same like
keyword,
Chaos God focus, then they lose it. So it could be maybe you're allowed to soup Slaanesh demons with Emperor's Children, but not with Black Legion and not with Death Guard. And you can't put Khorne demons with Slaanesh demons if you want to keep those big benefits.
So
that could be a way they.
I think the problem with that is there has to be a buff so powerful that it breaks the game, because nothing. I think the problem is they would have to have a brand new codex, right? Because the problem with Chaos Demons right now is each mono faction is weak. Because they've said that the mono factions are focused on what they do best. Like demons of Tzeentch are good at casting spells, and corn demons are good at being melee. But nothing in those books are strong, right?
Yeah.
So the only way that I honestly think they could rebalance mono demons is for them to rewrite a whole new codex, which Psychic Awakening is not about. Psychic Awakening is about quality of life updates to make things good or more playable. So
but if something's completely unplayable and the only solution to make it playable are those drastic changes, then that is a direction they could take.
They did it with Grey Knights.
That's
putting
different.
that out there.
Grey Knights are way different though. Grey Knights have been getting points drops for a long time. They've been getting quality of life updates over like 3 years, and even now with that big change in Psychic Awakening, they're still not top tier. They're just a very viable army now, right? Like they've been getting points drops every chapter approved possible. Like it's hard to say that they just came out of nowhere, because they've already been on the up and up since 2017. But then the Psychic Awakening book just put them over the top. It just pushed them enough to where they needed to be.
Okay,
you know,
makes sense.
Or do you think I'm wrong? I feel like that's.
No, I think you're right. I have noticed a couple Grey Knights point decreases over a while since I've been on here, but
and they've been huge. They're like huge points drops, right? Like,
oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Like Paladin squads drop like 40 to 50 points over the course of 2 years, which is ridiculous. I don't know the exact number, but like 50 points doesn't sound like a lot, but like when you're taking like 3 or 4 squads of them, that saves you just so much points you can spend on other things. It's actually kind of nice.
Whenever I first started looking at the army, back whenever I started playing in 2018, whenever I looked at Grey Knights, it very much seemed like GW was looking at them almost the same way as Custodes, but not as durable. Because, I mean, Custodes is like 3 wounds per model, but yet there's not even a Primaris Grey Knights model. Everything's 1 wound, and we all know how fast things die. Like, it doesn't matter.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe Paladins are 3 wounds.
No, paladins, I
Who
believe, are
upsaved.
2 wounds.
I'm talking about mostly just like their basic units and even like their
Yeah.
frontline grunts. And even
course, of
Terminators at a
course.
2-up save, but a toughness of 4. Terminators die easily, let's be honest.
Yeah,
sadly.
they do.
Paladins are a little bit more survivable with 3 wounds. I mean, 2 wounds is usually, it seems like, oh yeah, it's double the wounds, but I mean, we've all seen 2 wounds doesn't last long. But I
No,
think
how many weapons nowadays
I think
do
3
2
wounds
wounds?
though. 3 wounds is like that sweet spot to be at, and you saw it with the aggressor bump. Aggressors got pushed up to 3 wounds apiece, and it made them so much better.
Oof.
That third
T5.
They're so great.
on a Custodes too, that third wound. I mean, if you have like a D3 weapon, that's only a 33% chance you're going to kill that model, as opposed to a 66% chance you're going to kill that model. So I mean,
And
it
it's
just
worse.
becomes so much more viable at 3 wounds. That's why I think Paladins with those big drops are like a serious reason why Grey Knights are something right now. And then that's the only reason that Custodes work at all is with 3 wounds apiece. Otherwise, they would just be straight trash.
Yeah,
So what would you
Knobs
get?
should have 3 wounds. Yeah, of course.
So
We
what
should
would
have
you guys
knobs.
like to see out of demons, or just the engine war update in general?
I think for demons, I think the only way to really fix them now, I think at the moment, without planning a new book, is to make souping them stronger. Because demons for some reason last year or either last year or the year before, they got a large points increase, which made them very unplayable. We don't know why, because they weren't like top table or anything, but for some reason, demons just lost some quality of life. And it's just really weird for GW to do such a thing, because demons weren't like oppressive. They weren't disgusting. They were a really good army if you knew what you were doing. And GW was like, yeah, we can't have this. Let's nuke them. So I think to make demons good again, I think they need to rework the summoning mechanic. I wish they would do that, make it easier to summon demons, and they shouldn't cost points, like reserve points to get,
Well,
because they're already.
That's a slippery slope to go down, creating points out of thin air.
Yeah, I agree.
Leads to degenerate strategies.
Yeah, I agree. I thought about it for a while. Why couldn't they do it like that? But then I really thought about it. If you could just at any point summon plague bearers, you could swamp down a board. And even if you said, "Oh, I can only spawn 100 points per character," 100 points of plague bearers, only 50. Only 50 points per character. Only 50 points. You know what I mean?
So I think they need to rework the whole summoning system to begin with.
And that's fine. I agree. I think
like
it's
in AOS, no one complains about summoning in AOS, even though it legit is straight free points. Because in AOS, demons are more expensive, but you can summon them way easier too. But no one's ever complaining in Age of Sigmar that demons are broken.
Well, Age of Sigmar is kind of weird, to be honest. I was listening to
Age of Sigmar is a very different game.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Getting like 300 free points is still 300 free points.
Yeah.
I read the rules once for summoning, and I just said, "Oh, explicit that. That sounds way too complicated. I'm just going to put them in as troops," to be honest with you.
I just think maybe if you could summon and they only stay until the end of the turn, I think that would be pretty good.
Okay.
Because it doesn't make them stick and stay around too long, but it does help demons players, because demons are just not in a good spot right now. They're not, especially with the rise of the Grey Knights now. Like I would be hard pressed to bring my demons to a tournament knowing that Grey Knight, there might be 3 or 4 Grey Knights players, and if I go against them, I just lose.
Well,
because 3 damage smites are oppressive.
The most popular faction right now is Space Marines, and Space Marines could very easily deal with demons just by sheer number of attacks or bolters, let's be honest.
Exactly. 120 shots from a squad is oppressive. That's ridiculous.
And all with the new reward or reroll for chapter masters and everything like that, to where now you can just reroll everything. It just makes pumping out so many bolter shots so easily. In a 5-up invuln, it doesn't really matter all that much whenever you get like 20 shots coming at you.
Exactly. And like I don't know. It's we're in a really rough spot for lots of things right now. A lot of armies are trying to fill the gap after the well, it's just hard to fill the gap right now because first of all, we can't even go to tournaments. We can't put up results. We can't see what people are trying to test out and stuff. We can't see what armies are being played right now. On top of that, by the time we get back in the scene, we'll have gone through 3-second awakening books, and we don't even know which updates are good, which ones are bad yet.
Well,
So it's gonna be interesting to see where we go from here at a competitive standpoint because we just don't know, right? We just don't know what's going on yet.
that's true. Like my vision of demons getting a buff was also demonic summoning being changed. But I don't dislike the demonic summoning that they have now. I just don't understand how demonic summoning benefits more demons right now than Chaos Space Marines, but it's still not good regardless, both ways. I understand that you can't have things being free in Warhammer 40k because 40k is a completely different game from fantasy. And yeah, I understand it's like it doesn't seem like a difference, but it's one of those things where I don't want someone summoning 300 extra points of plague bearers. Because that is
Right.
that is
I
just
understand
crazy dumb. Like
I
2,000 points
understand that.
2,000 points of plague bearers is already too much.
But you have to understand that. You have to understand that. I think you don't realize how overtuned most armies are, but then how obviously like chaos just gets left in the dirt every time.
No, I understand. I play chaos. Like
I think
I played a lot of chaos. I watch chaos. Like the person I've played against the most plays chaos. Like I understand chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just I don't understand. Like I understand what they need. It's just the fact that every single time I think about it, if they get something slightly good, it makes them really broken. Like for example, Lord Discordant. Chaos has been needing a buff for a while, and the moment they get one model, holy crap, everything else became broken.
Just run 3 of them.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Lord Discordant now is undertuned. They fixed the problem. They're not gray anymore. I think so. Here's the thing, though. I think honestly, truly, what we truly need for Chaos to do, Chaos Demons to do good, is I think they need buffs for when they're working together.
I think the opposite. But
no,
keep going.
You can't do it the other way without giving them a new codex, right?
Nah.
I think the simple quick fix for 8th edition, because I do truly feel like this summer 9th edition is going to come out. I think that the best way to treat demons is as a soup faction. Because it makes sense. When a tear in the warp happens, it's not going to be just one flavor of demon coming out of the warp. It's going to be Tzeentch, Khorne, all of them. All of them are coming out of the warp, right? We don't just get, here's a tear, here's a rip in time from Tzeentch, here's a rip in time from, Khorne. It's always going to be like that,
I mean,
Go ahead,
I
Mr.
guess.
Lower Man.
No. I'm just trying to think back through things because the last time I read a book fully through that had chaos as an antagonist was a while ago. And I'm trying to think back, but I don't really ever recall ever reading any piece of media where a warp rift opened and demons from more than one type ever came out. I don't think on a lore standpoint that ever really holds up.
The only
because the forces of chaos are inherently supposed to be working against each other towards the same goal.
Now,
because them working together is like antithetical to their nature. So to say that chaos's logical conclusion should be to work together is sort of going past like the narrative elements that are important for chaos why the like Black Crusades and what Abaddon does is relevant to the story. Because the fact that there's only been 13 Black Crusades when chaos has been a problem since forever is supposed to be a testament to his ability, even though everyone uses it as a reason to like joke about him being terrible at his job.
No, because the only two points in time where I've ever heard multiple demons coming out from each other was the book that I've read about the disjunctions in what's it called? Dark Eldar area, whatever it's called.
Dark Eldar,
Kamarog.
dark area.
Yeah,
Kamarog.
Kamarog, which is which makes sense because they've been trying to do that for millennia. So it makes sense that multiple different things have been trying to get through those instructions each time. It's like multiple incursions every single like 1,000 years or something. And then when the Rift in Terra, when Magnus the Red broke the rule, and then a rift happened, and yeah, like those are the only
Thanks,
two
Magnus.
times.
Thanks,
Yeah.
appreciate it, buddy.
Those are the only two times that I've heard. But like, I do. It does make sense in a sense that they should come out at the same time at sometimes. But
I just think that makes the most sense.
But they don't work together at any point.
So here's the problem, though. If that was the intent for demons to be separate factions, why did they only get one book?
Because GW is trying to make you spend more money, dude.
That's not true. GW wanted to spend more money.
They make 4 separate codexes. Yeah, exactly.
No, because think about it. If they made the armies the same for fantasy and 40K, and they're like, oh, it's just cool, but they made the army really bad. But the thing is, in your head, you're like, oh man, since I can play with 2 different games, I'll buy just demons. What do you think Chase is going through right now? His army's bad.
Oh well, why are you calling this man out?
How much money has he spent on
this man out right now?
How much money do you think he spent on his Chaos Demons? Probably like $500. Boom, $500 down the drain. Never gonna be good. Boom. I'm just saying. Like, I have nothing against Chase. I love Chase, but his army's not good because he even says it's not good. He just plays it for fun. And
it's
I agree.
A flavor army. It's absolutely a flavor army.
He's just hoping it becomes good.
Any final thoughts on demons in general?
Yeah, man, they're pretty cool.
My idea for demons is if they are not souped, they get benefits. If they are souped, they do not get benefits. And then it's just like one buff singularly, and it's like, for example, chaos. If everything in your faction is corn keyword, increase movement by 1, increase attacks by 1, increase advance rolls by 1. You know, something like that. If everything's Slanesh, because everything can already fight first anyway, it's like everything can roll 3 dice for advance, 3d6 charge, and I don't know, like -1 to shooting. You know what I mean?
It'll be interesting to see whenever it comes out. Okay.
Nurgle, you know what I mean? Like something small like that. That's not small, but definitely that allows them to do what they do and to keep the same point cost. Because like the points are bad, but if you lower the point cost of any of the HQs, they will become overtuned for sure.
Oh yeah. So moving on to the next point of saltiness, quick little rant about the next release as well too that we're going to be seeing at the beginning of next month. In May's White Dwarf, we're going to be getting updates for Death Watch and Harlequins. Not a Psychic Awakening book, just kind of a little change in the magazine. Maddie, you're our clown boy. What do you want to see out of your clown boys?
Yeah, definitely a clown.
Yeah, most certainly a clown for sure. Man, I honestly with Harlequins, I don't know, maybe some more options. That'd be nice. Just more. Like
just a little how many models in your entire codex?
Like less. I think the count is under 10. It's pretty low. We have one.
I don't even have 10.
We have one troop, one fast tech, like maybe 3 elites that are each individual models, or 2 elites that are individual models. 1 transport, 1 heavy support. I mean, we're low cost. We don't have a flyer. Are
you gonna buy the new Sisters model?
For sure. I'm gonna buy out
the one that looks like a Dark Eldar character.
No, I won't be buying. I don't probably be acquiring the Harlequins half of the Sisters model. Yeah, for sure. I don't know that I necessarily need the sister.
Aren't they on the same team?
Well, they are friends.
She's technically
in the book, yeah.
his her bodyguard, I think. I'm not sure on the lore. I want to read that novel.
They're buds, yeah. Buds, yeah.
And I know you want more models, but anything like rules-wise that you'd like to see?
But honestly, I think the rules are pretty good. Like
Point decrease.
just being. I don't think they need. They just got a huge point decrease. I think they're in a good spot point wise.
Say more point decreases.
Honestly, I really think Harlequins are good. They just need more options. I feel bad because when I field them, it's just the same every time. It's like I don't have options.
Especially with Matt, it's all that gray in his Harlequins.
Actually, my Harlequins are not very gray at all. Thank you very much. They're already all primed.
Dang.
Ooh, he's moving up.
Whoa, he's actually starting.
Yeah, just very
Whoa.
slowly.
Good job, my boy.
It does actually feel like a fun army to play against, and it feels like definitely one of those armies that you have to know what you're doing to be able to put up a good fight with it, because it's not a forgiving army from the looks of it.
Yeah, it's not forgiving at all. It definitely requires you to play smart, and its positioning is everything. And you're relying on good positioning, making good charge rolls, good decisions, because you can definitely put yourself in a bind for having, your everything in your army has a 4-up invuln, which is awesome. We talked about that earlier with demons. 4-up invuln is a 50-50 chance of living. They have some models with 3 wounds, like the bikes, which make them pretty survivable with some awesome stratagems like -1 to hits and everything. With the stagnant -1 to hit on them too. But it really does come down to positioning, honestly, and just trying to not leave everything out in the open, because if you have troops just standing there, it doesn't matter if they have a 4-up invuln, they're T3, they're going to get removed from the table.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Enough bolter shots and they're gone.
Yeah, just any bolter shots and they're gone. I can't tell you how many times someone's like, yeah, I got 4 bolters over here. We'll just put some pop shots and there goes 4 of them.
I feel like Harlequins should have the characters should have a 5-up field no pain, the mortal wounds. And then everything else should have a 6-up field no pain, the mortal wounds. Because that'll counteract all the psychic stuff that's going on. Because the one thing Harlequins are great at is, the 50-50 chance of not dying. But mortal wounds don't change the fact. And so many armies are dishing out mortal wounds. So to counteract that, and it still makes sense in some sense, the Harlequins do get some sort of feels no pain to mortal wounds. Or maybe they get like a relic that gives them feels no pain to mortal wounds. Like entirely, it's like, 6-inch bubble, they can't take mortal wounds. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, that sounds like a
counter.
I guess
that sounds broken.
From a personal standpoint, I've never had a problem with mortal wounds. Like, I mean, honestly, like what we just talked about, my biggest problem with Harlequins that I've faced, like playing them, is shot output. It's armies that can put lots of small arms firepower out, like Imperial Guard are really tough because there's just so many bolters that are wounding on 4s.
Admech,
I guess, maybe. Nah.
Death Watch.
Robots.
No, of course.
Yeah.
That's not the point. I mean, I'm saying like this is a new if what they're trying to push out, they're trying to push out armies that do mortal wounds a lot. Like what Grey Knights, Eldar have gotten some good mortal wounds. Not as much. They're trying to make.
Demons are getting a change, so Zeech demons might be a thing.
Demons might give them more mortal wounds.
I'd be. I feel like as far as like
Suns.
What was it? Grey Knights. I'd be more afraid of everything having a storm bolter. That's terrifying.
I mean, they have storm bolters and they have mortal wound potential.
Yeah, true.
So you have they have the double possibility of just saying no to your army.
True. You're not wrong there.
So,
and then I would really actually, on a serious note here, one thing that I'd really like to see them do is reduce the cost of our transport, because the Venom is the exact same model for like 30 less points. For literally 30 less points, and it's silly.
That's true. Just make it the same cost as a Venom.
That's all I want.
Like beyond, it's the same thing.
That's all I want.
It's in a worse army. It's in a worse army.
To be fair on the Venom thing, hold up. To be fair on the Venom thing, though, right? Like they got rid of Kabbalah Trueborns whenever they released their codex because they realized that having super cheap Venoms with
five blasters
in them was going to be obnoxious. And Harlequin, one of their big things with their transport is filling them with fusion pistols, which are melt-a-guns.
That's part of the shenanigans.
No, that's the thing, right? It's part of the shenanigans. And the models are expensive because I don't think Cabal Trueborns were that expensive.
No, they're the
but
same.
I think part of the reason why they're more expensive is because they want to avoid just having, 50 of those with a ton of really good fusion pistols, and then when the models get out, they're also hard to kill, and they still have their guns.
Yeah, they're
do.
like 8 points per model, and then the blasters made them like 15 more points each. But like, who cares? You have a melt gun for each guy. That's 8 points in a venom.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
I mean, that's basically what Harlequins are. I mean, Harlequins are the biggest thing is you're talking about what is it? So it's 90 points for 5 Harlequins with fusion pistols.
That's really expensive.
That's 5 Harlequins with fusion pistols, all of them with fusion pistols.
5.
Yeah,
They're 18 points with the fusion pistol and
Nick,
11 points without.
They're pistols.
Yeah,
12-inch range.
yeah, but they're all
6-inch range.
Yeah, but they're
even
they're
worse.
also like strength deal a million damage.
Strength 8,
Nick,
minus
your
4,
army can
D6,
shoot
double
them.
if they're within 3 inches.
Nick, your army can shoot them before they even get near you to 6 inches. Why are you?
But they move like 3 million inches.
No, they move at most probably 20 inches a turn.
No, they can actually move quite a bit more than that. Again, shenanigans. You just have you can have one of your Shadow Seers as a warlord trait. Get out of the transport after it's moved and then cast Twilight Pathways on it so it can then move its full distance again. So it has like a 40 something inch threat range. It's pretty ridiculous.
Listen, you can't disembark
you don't need to disembark to shoot your pistols out of it though.
No, sure, but I still don't
I'll
think
just tell
that
you
matters.
Right now.
It's just 5 pistols.
Yeah, 6
so it doesn't
pistols.
really matter. 6 pistols.
It's just 6 fusion guns.
Yeah, it's just 6 fusion guns.
Plastic guns.
I mean, 5 of them are hitting on 3s, and then one of them's hitting on 2s. It's pretty much it kills whatever you touch. I mean, it's a good way to just remove something on the table that you don't want to be there. Turn 1. I mean, it's a good strategy, and I'm not saying like so. I said Harlequins are in a pretty good spot. They have a lot of tricks up their sleeves to remove high priority targets like knights and stuff. Knights, I don't really find to be a problem on the table. It's more just lots of troops with lots of small firepower because my biggest toughness is T5. So I'm just going to get shot off the table by anything with lots of firepower.
At least you got something, though. Me and the Death Watch terms, we got absolutely nothing, though.
Where?
I mean,
that too.
Well, we don't know what we've got
plus 6 to range.
I was gonna say we don't know what we've got. They haven't released anything as far as what the Harlequins are getting, have they?
The leaks are out.
I can have 3 wound models with 3 up invulns and they can fly keyword. Where?
I mean,
to
be fair, before we get on this topic of being toxic, like they did get things, right? Like it'd be pretty disingenuous to say they didn't get anything.
We just didn't get anything unique. That's the thing. We basically just got copy and paste of the Space Marine.
Your army literally started unique.
They didn't take anything from you.
The thing is, like they have everything they need, and now. Like, they're never going to use the litany that gives +1 to wound because they're always wounding on 2s anyway.
Well, actually, I kind of like that litany because I can just use that 2-point stratagem on a different unit. And then on another unit, I could just be like, oh, there's a chaplain right there. All right, +1 to wound on this one. And then, you know, wounding on 3s or 2s, probably re-rolling 1s and,
I was talking about the whole Hellfire round situation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But looking at the other one with +1 to hit, that's going to be pretty big, I think. And I don't know if you're able to put 2 litanies from 2 different chaplains on the same unit, but getting your massive 10 Stormbolter meme with +1 to wound, +1 to hit, hitting on 2s, wounding on 4s, you're melting pretty big stuff with just Stormbolters, and that's not counting if you're using like Kraken rounds or something because you can't hit it with Hellfire.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I'd say that just getting these things because, like, being able to snipe people with Stalker Bolters with your Intercessors, who cares? No one. But the auto hitting with Bolt Storm and the and the double the shot with the double the shots with the bolt rifles, like I don't know exactly how people are running Deathwatch right now, but just getting the choice of how to use those and how that will shape your list, I think will be pretty huge.
So the reason people don't do that is because chaplains are too expensive for not a guarantee. Because basically, a psychic power is almost guaranteed, right? Most times, because but it's most times a psychic power is guaranteed, and if not, you have another cast in Space Marines, right? So you have two different like options of two different things, right? But like a litany, you can only cast one litany. On a 3 up, it goes off. A 1 or 2.
Well, to be fair,
To be fair.
most things that have psychic powers, unless they're like a big guy like Magnus or something, you only ever put one of your like big important psychic powers on one caster.
Sure.
Because you don't want to. You want to be able to like spread those out.
Yeah, and that's fine. But I'm saying like no one runs chaplains because they're not as good as psychers no matter what. And just because you want to make a build around +1 to hit and +1 to wound for a chaplain, it's not good enough to justify it. 160 points. Yeah, what's up?
Before you roast chaplains, though, I'm just saying everyone's currently on the hunt for chaplain dreadnoughts. I know they're not quite the same thing.
I'm about to just build my own, to be honest with you.
Right. I know they're not the same thing, but chaplain dreadnoughts right now are just straight fire right now.
No, of course.
Because of the fact that chaplains get those litanies, and litanies are actually pretty solid.
They're solid.
Yeah, they don't compare to psychers, sure, but like, I mean, no one's gonna sit here and tell me, oh yeah, I'm running this librarian over a chaplain. I don't think I've ever heard that in my life.
What do you mean? I'm almost positive everyone says a psyker is better than a chaplain in every scenario.
Alex, listen. How many librarians you run in your Black Templars?
Oh, man, you're right. If only I could run psychers, you know? Yeah, I mean,
I pick Black Templars.
Literally, the only chaplains that are decent, and that like overall decent because of the litanies that you can get, are Black Templars because they have their separate own litany base. But their litanies aren't that good. They're very versatile and they're different. But
I just like the idea of the chaplain litanies because as Deathwatch in general, I don't have that many HQ choices. And besides the Watchmaster and a librarian, the rest is just kind of like, I can't even run lieutenants. Like that's a thing. I can't reroll ones to wound at all. I mean, I can with the mission tactics and everything, but this will be a new good addition to my HQ choices. And on top of that, the litanies and a chaplain dreadnought will be a character that will be hitting on 2. So slap a last cannon on it, and if he moves, great, he's hitting on 3s, and if he doesn't, he's hitting on 2s. And what are they, like toughness 6? So that means that those eliminators on the back aren't going to be able to snipe him as easily.
Oh, sir, and I'm not saying anything about Chaplain Dreadnoughts. Chaplain Dreadnoughts are a completely different model. Like 100% Chaplain Dreadnoughts worth their points. It's just most people don't run them because they didn't get like anything real benefit. They were just a chaplain that's a dreadnought, and no one really ran dreadnoughts, unless it was like a Leviathan
but that model has increased in popularity so much in the last 2 months.
Yes. No, that's not what I was saying before that, though.
Oh, okay.
No, that's what I said. Before that, no one ran a Chaplain Dreadnought. And it's not that it wasn't good. It's that everyone's just a metagamer. They're just like, yo, I mean, I could run a 150-point model that's really good, or I could run a 150 model that's completely broken.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why wouldn't I rather run the completely broken model? Sure. But I'm saying, like, Chaplain Dreadnought's good. But now, if you're the only 2 litanies that are good in normal Space Marines is some faction-specific litanies. I don't know all of them. I just know Blood Angels and Dark Angels ones. I don't know everyone else's. I know Black Templars, but I don't know everyone else's. But I know the +1 to hit is really good. I know the +1 to wound is also good. But the +1 to wound, I believe, is not ranged. I'm pretty sure it's only melee. I may be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's only melee.
I don't think chaplains have guns, right? Don't they only have melee weapons?
You can give them a plasma pistol.
Grenades.
Yeah,
like technically they can get ranged weapons. But from listening to all this analysis, it doesn't sound like Death Notch needs these chapels and litanies. It really sounds like to me that we need another Primaris Lieutenant.
Yeah, no, there's not enough. There's not enough.
We need one more Primaris Lieutenant in a different pose with another power sword.
Yeah, let's put him on a bike.
This time let's put
So
him
he's
on
not White Scars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he won't be White Scars. He'll be a Blood Angel.
No, but he's
Too bad
Legends.
I won't.
He's
I'll still
Legends.
not be able to run it as Death Watch or any Phobos units. I'm a little bit salty about that one. No Phobos units for Death Watch.
They're terrible anyway, so it's fine.
I wanted eliminators. That's the main thing. I just wanted eliminators.
Well, I mean, I just want some Primaris melee units for my Black Templars.
Let's not get into that one again.
Please, I'm begging you. Like, GW, if you've done anything right, even Gazgul wasn't the right option. Primaris melee units is the right option. Please, I'm begging.
All right, that's enough of that. The Inquisition's gonna knock down our door at some point and be like, enough.
Before Alex gets on his knees and starts begging to Almighty GW for melee Primaris units again.
Please.
How about we talk about something happy? How about that new Necron and Necrons in general? Good lord, that new Necron model is gorgeous.
It ain't melee.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's pretty beautiful. I'm pretty excited. I could always use some more Necrons.
Hey, look, we got a new Inquisitor, baby.
I'm kind of interested to see like a size. Like I want to see how big it is next to something else because I know that it wasn't a very big model prior to this obvious new model here. So I want to see how big it is. The base looks like Gazgul size. It looks like he could stand as tall as Gilliman. So I'd be really interested to see like a size comparison, him next to another model.
I don't know if I'm blind
this,
or not, but
Necron?
I can't tell what it looks like. Does it have legs?
It has
four
the
legs.
picture-
It has four legs. Yeah.
Those are spider
Those are
legs.
spiders.
Yeah, those are
Spider
definitely
legs.
spider legs.
Yeah, spider legs.
No, I thought he looked like a snake. I thought he had like a slippery crawly boy. Okay, I see them now.
He's
No,
definitely.
leave me alone.
He's taller than Gazgul for sure.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, he's taller than Gazgul.
Because the model right before this, like the Finecast model you could buy right now, is tiny. I mean, it's like it's not big.
Like, it's a 50 millimeter model. It's standing very upright. It's definitely taller than Gazgul. At the very least.
I don't think that's Redemptor Dreadnought size base.
No,
I don't
it's
think
not
it's that big.
It is. If you go back and look at it. Yeah, go back and look at it. Like,
Okay.
here, I'm going to look at it real quick. I'll give you more detail.
I think I could see it. Okay.
So it doesn't look like it on the page because you're seeing it from a zoomed out picture. But if you look, oh man, it was on their Instagram story. It gave you like a 360 diagram of it. So
Okay.
when I looked at the 360 diagram, you can definitely tell it's a 50-meter base from how big the model is. And
So this
it
dude's
showed
probably gonna have more than 10 wounds, isn't he?
he's definitely
He's
going
a
to be
big boy.
He's going to be a
No
9.
way.
He's going to be a 9
Does
wound
he have
Necron
10
model
wounds?
just to be like XD. You know, like
No, he's gonna be like
Yikes.
a 15 wound model with quantum shielding.
take quantum
yeah,
shielding,
you can't-
yes.
Hey, if you have a Necron model within 2 inches of him, they have to shoot that model before you can shoot this model.
That sounds good.
That sounds right.
Let's just give
You
us
know?
like a permanent lookout, sir, all the time.
Yeah, right.
For my warriors
Oh,
that come
man.
back. That sounds like a
no,
plan.
even
If he's
Even
in,
better.
if he's in 2 inch of an enemy model, he can use the enemy model for lookout,
no,
sir.
even better. If this model is within 30 inches of any Necron model, you have to shoot those models
I'm not gonna
before
lie,
you can
man.
shoot this model.
I'm like super excited to paint like this guy's soul being sucked out of him or whatever, like his
It looks like
skin.
blood.
I think
but
it's
I
his
don't know
skin.
what that is.
It's like
I
literally,
really
it's
don't
melting
know.
his skin off of his body. Look, because his hands are skeletal, and it's like melting the skin off of
yeah.
his body. That's
It was-
epic.
I really don't know. Like, I don't know what he's holding. You
It
know?
looks like he's getting ready.
It's his staff.
Yeah. Well, he's holding his staff, but that's with 2 arms. He has 2 more arms doing more work.
No,
It looks like he's like.
there was a better view
So-
in the 360 diagram that I saw.
So one of them looks like to be holding some kind of resurrection orb or some kind of orb to steal this dude's blood. The other one seems to be looks like he's like a you know when you think of a crystal ball in a gypsy, like they do that thing with their hands to look like they're putting power into the crystal ball. That's what it looks like he's doing.
So what I've gathered a little bit from the lore of this guy, by the way, hashtag not a lore cast. This guy is basically the equivalent
07.
of a Call and the equivalent of like a mad scientist. He's like a Fabius Bile of the Necrons. He's like taken human nulls and made them into Necrons. So he experiments a lot with the humans and other species as well too, to try to advance the Necron race and everything. He's their Fabius Bile, and it's going to be basically the anti-psyker thing, the anti-psyker HQ of the Necrons. So that should be interesting to see on the tabletop.
That's cool. I'm down for that.
Indeed.
I wish it was the other one, Imhotep. I wish it was Imhotep because that model is gorgeous. I love Imhotep.
I agree. I do like the idea that Necrons are getting some new stuff because I think Necrons are a really cool army in a really cool way in the lore, especially lore. I think Necron lore is very interesting, and they need more love.
absolutely.
They need way more love for that army in that faction because honestly, like of any other faction that needs love and lore and deserve it, should be Necrons.
They have lots of lore.
No,
It's
they
just,
have lots of it. Just
they-
you know.
playing Necrons is like playing hard game plus because everything about from their lore to their models to their actual models themselves to their everything
Yeah,
has just been
underwhelming.
good. But it's just exactly.
Oh, that's
I can't
cool.
remember what the book is called. I'm pretty sure it's the most. What's it called? Blood of Baal? Is that Baal? Ball?
Ball.
Devastation
Yeah.
of Ball.
Devastation of Baal.
Stop.
That is
You're
that
going-
book describes Necrons in the very. Is it Necron? Yeah, is it Necrons? Yeah.
No, Blood Ball
I'm
is
pretty sure
Tyranids,
Devastation
right?
of Ball is
No,
Tyranids.
Tyranids and
both.
Blood
It's both.
Angels.
It's
Tyranids
both.
and Blood Angels.
It's
So-
Blood Angels,
Yeah.
Tyranids, and Necrons. Because
No,
the
you're
Necrons in
you're
the
trolling.
no, it's Necrons saying that they can help the Blood Angels.
Oh yeah.
kill
The
the
Blood Angels
Tyranids.
became buddies with the Necrons.
Yeah, and this is the only book that I remember hearing about Necrons where they actually felt like Necrons, where they were like, oh, spoiler alert! If you don't want spoilers about Devastation of Baal,
Ball.
Oh, so are you sure it's not the Yanari book that you got?
no, that's a different Necron book that didn't give them any justice. So the book basically made it to where Blood Angels were being used by the Necrons, so that the Necrons were like, oh yeah, we'll help you, and they did help them, but they left their entire reserve fleet in like whatever, like their little magic like technology space that they're in, and they left their entire reserve fleet. Made the Blood Angels use all of their fleet to try to destroy the Leviathan fleet, and then Necrons were like, hey, yeah, we still had all this fleet, by the way. And they basically destroyed the Tyranid fleet that was a threat to the Necrons by using minimal casualties on their side, and made the Necrons and made the Blood Angels use their entire fleet, and they even lost their not their
This
battle.
happened in Blood and Ball?
Yeah, Devastation of Ball.
Devastation of Ball is a novel. It's a
Gotcha.
novel.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
See, that's why I was confused. I was thinking about the second Wicking book this whole time. Like, nah, dog, you lost me there.
and if you-
Dante
yeah,
almost died in that book too.
Yeah, he almost died in that. I mean, he almost dies in every book, to be honest.
Yeah.
But realistically, like I can't explain it as well as he read it, but the way he wrote it, it was super cool and super like how interesting Necrons can be. They're not like some soulless creatures. They're like, this guy's extremely smart. Like the Silent King, he's a smart guy. Like
Oh,
doing
yeah.
this, yeah, and he just 180 the Blood Angels like that. And I found
Oh,
that
yeah.
really interesting. And they should be giving them more justice like that. But that is the most recent book about Necrons that I can think of, other than the Yanari book. But they didn't give them any justice in that book. So, you know.
True.
Well, he
That-
this model, his abilities right now are already pretty neat for Necron players. He gives like he's a cryptech, so he gets +1 to reanimation protocols, which is really awesome. And then he gives well, it's pretty neat because it's +1 for all reanimation protocols, so it's not just warriors or anything like that, like normal. And then he gives +1 strength. Or I'm sorry, once at the end of each movement phase, you choose a friendly Necron, warrior, or immortal within 1 inch of him. Roll a d3, and they either get +1 strength, +1 toughness, or +1 ballistic skill for the rest of the battle. and you can just do this at the end of each movement phase. So each round you get a buff 1 unit, and one unit can only be the target of it once per battle. But if you have, you're 5 turns in, you have 5 squads next to him, all of them are going to get some kind of buff throughout the game. So you could be running around with T5, a whole blob of warriors, 20 of them with T5, which would be pretty disgusting. So, I mean, he's already got some pretty neat rules for only 110 points.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's got a pretty cool little weapon. His weapon, that little staff that he carries, is a 36-inch assault 1, strength 8 melta weapon. So strength 8, AP minus 4, d6 damage. 36 inches too. That's crazy.
Yeah,
for
that's
110 points, he's definitely worth every penny.
Alrighty, guys. With that, we're going to start wrapping it up. As always, thank you so much for listening in. If you find it so much in your heart to try to help us out, be sure to check out our Patreon. Nick, I'll let you go ahead and plug that in. You're the best at plugging that in.
Yeah, it'll be patreon.com/thetabletopshenanigans for that.
The Tabletop Shenanigans.
You guys could please remember to subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. Give us a like on the YouTube video. If you'd like to support us, you can definitely go to our Facebook and like us on Facebook. Sorry, Philip. Felipe, go ahead.
No, you're fine. All right, signing off. This is Felipe.
This is Matthew.
This is Nick.
And Alex.
And Philip.
And Philip, yay!
Yo. Sorry. I was waiting for Nick.
Apparently, me and Matt are just the same person.
Yeah, we're the same.
Anyway.
It's okay. We talked over each other.
Anyways, Felipe, show us out.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for everything. Let us know if there's anything else we can improve on. Be sure to keep an eye out for our next podcast, as well as Dark Heresy. And once Nurgle's Plague over the world flies over, we will get started on some battle reports. Thank you, everybody, and good night. Bye.
Sluggers.
Smooch.